But you can go get those guys that just want to play, man. Just want to win, just want to be coached, want to make it 80% or above. They want to go to the next level, and they're going to run through a wall for you, and they don't have a star by their name. That's the group you can win with, and that's the group I want.
Welcome to the Jamodi Podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is Jamodi, just a matter of doing it.
Today we're joined by the head boys basketball coach at Kimball High School, Nick Smith. Coach Smith is in his 17th year as a head coach, with 7 years at Pinkston High School before coming to Kimball in 2014. His overall record is 375 wins and 182 losses. In 1920, he led the Knights to the regional finals, the state finals in 2021, the state semifinals in 21-22, and to a state championship in 22-23. He's been named District Coach of the Year several times at Pinkston and Kimball. In 2022-2023, he was named the TABC 5A Coach of the Year, Dallas Morning News Coach of the Year, and NBC5 High School Sports Coach of the Year. Before we hear from Coach, take a moment to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media at Jamodi Podcast.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Coach, how we doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Just getting in and getting settled. That's about it.
Nice. Coach, I want to thank you so much for giving up your time and coming on Talking Hoops with me. This is an honor, man.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor being here. Glad to be a part of the show.
Tell me a little bit about this time of year. I mean, first, congratulations on just an incredible season last year, winning the state championship. That's awesome. And just tell me a little bit about this year and what's new with you.
Well, finally getting a chance to come down off this high, winning the state championship. I don't know if anybody's had opportunity if they've ever won a state championship to be on this roller coaster all the way from that time of winning that game all the way up until now. And even like now, I'm still doing podcasts and being part of your podcast. I was actually come speak at a camp this past Saturday in Lake Dallas. This Saturday we have a fall game for our JV. We're playing a little fall league, and I was asked to come speak at this. Well, I'm getting honored at this women's conference. I just got an email for it, so it's been stuff like that, man. And then at the same time, you're trying to focus on this season and getting the guys ready, getting them acclimated to what we're doing, and showing this younger group that we have to play at a certain level when you move up to the varsity. That's been really difficult and challenging, but to try to balance all of that, with the appearances, awards, doing this, teaching, and my family, it's, and I try to find little ways to balance that. But this year is going to be challenging. We got a young group, and those kids they're gym rats, man, and they love staying in the gym, but just getting them to, and they're all talented and can play. It's just the IQ and the fundamental part of it. Teach them how to play together, how to share the ball. Everything's not one-on-one.
Yeah.
Just things like that, man. And I think every day after practice, I'm like, gosh. But hey, that's part of coaching. You're not going to have it that way every year, and I understand that. So, I'm up for this challenge. And I told them I think we're going to be good this year. But the good thing is we're getting a lot of those guys back. And hopefully this year will be kind of a learning stage for them. And then when they come back next year, maybe we can try this thing again.
It's all about how you frame it, right, with the guys, right. Because it's when you're young, will you have the same amount of success, go as far possibly, but then you can always frame it as, man, the future's bright.
Yes.
Like we are building something right now, and just so that they don't ever feel from us like, yeah, it's not going to happen this year. We know it, right? But it's right. Some years it's not as probable as other years.
That's right. And I always preach, even when I took over this job, before me and all the coaches that came before me is, hey, state championship. We're not worried about the playoffs. We're not worried about, if you do everything right, you'll be playing in March. So, these last 3 years and going, I pretty much be in a brainwash session and telling the kids, this is it. That's the bar. the last game we want to be playing is in San Antonio. And that's it. And they believed it. And I looked at this group and I'm like, well, yeah, we're going to do it again. Yeah, we're going to do it. But I know, I'm like, okay, it's going to take some work. I told my coaches, assistant coach, I said, hey, man, we're going to win some games. We're going to lose some games. I said, we're going to probably drop a few games that we should win. But I said, if we can get in, I said, we can just get in the playoffs and go a few rounds, and then get back in there in the spring.
Yeah, get them a taste of it. Yeah.
Get them a taste of it. I said, we'll get those guys back. We'll lose a few seniors, but we'll get those guys back. Then we might have a shot at going to get it again.
And I think that's a huge perspective shift for all of us as coaches, is to hold high standards, but then we don't want them to feel like a failure if it doesn't work out the way that we believe it could. And I think because if you do that, if it is state championship or bust, what about the years, coach, when you just know, I just don't think we have the same amount of horses, that special sauce, but we're building something. I think you're right on the money. So expectations are high, but you're going to help them along and especially pick them up if and when it doesn't work out that way.
That's correct. And it's hard because I know where my mentality is, and I know what I'm preaching every day in practice, every day after practice. It's the same thing until they get it. But deep down inside, I kind of know, okay, we got a lot of work to do. This, and then you see the other teams out there, and we go to some of these events, and they're looking pretty good. And I have to let them know, listen. And I know you want to win these fall league games. They don't mean nothing. It's an evaluation period for me.
Yeah.
So we'll play it. We'll get a parent to film it. They'll send it to us, and we'll come watch some of that. And we try to build off those games so we can get better. So now we know, they all know this. I'll say, what game are we playing for right now? First game of the season. That's all you need to be worried about. We're playing for the first game of the season. And one of my volunteers that's coaching the fall league, because we can't coach fall league.
Right.
He's, man, this man press ain't working, coach. Or they can't do this. They can't do that. I'm going to put him back in a 1-2-2. I'm going to put him back in a 2-3. And I'm like, bro, yeah, you can do that if you want to just get the win, but that's not how we play.
Yeah.
And as I explained to them, they need to pick up man now. I need them manning up. I don't care if we win or lose, as long as I see improvement, then, because we don't want to, they don't get it now, and then third, fourth game of the season, they still don't have it, and we're losing. Let them do all this. Let them get it now,
Man, that's huge. The confidence that can be taken away as coaches of us completely shifting directions because of their failures in the fall. You can. I mean, I love the fact that what you're doing is you're battling a little bit of what parents, the way they think.
Yes.
Yeah. He probably has the best intentions and he means well, but he's got to remember, parents got to remember that in these shootouts, these fall leagues, the spring leagues, all this stuff, there are no trophies. From that. You will forget those wins and losses super quick, but the reps and the lessons you can learn along the way, that's what's valuable.
That's what's valuable. And even last year's team, we went 33-2, and I remember in fall league, the parents complained, and we were winning, and they were complaining, I don't like this system. I don't think this is going to work this year. Last year it worked with that team, but it's not going to work with this team. I'm not even coaching.
Yeah.
I'm like, just be patient. When I get it, and it's just like this year, I had to tell you, just be patient. When I get it, it's going to look different. I remember a few years ago, we lost to a team, 2021, I want to say it was. Fall 2020. We lost to a team, really good team, about 40, first game. Okay. I had a few guys that hadn't gotten their physicals yet. They had to sit. They ain't even been in athletics. I had some guys that were coming off of COVID, so they weren't even there. We got beat by 40. And I'm sitting on the side, and people looking at me like, God, they're bad. I'm like, what? And so this is what gets me. They put the fall league scores on Twitter, and then somebody goes, one of the coaches at the school retweets it. I say, retweet a fall league score? Who does that? And so that kind of just woke me up right there. I was like, okay, we were tweeting fall league scores now. I said, come see me in March. And when we were on the way to San Antonio in 2021, that's the year we lost to Beaumont United, the buzzer. And we were driving down there. I went and found that tweet and I retweeted that tweet again. I said, it's March. I hope y'all on the way down.
That's a good memory right there. That's a good memory.
I'll never forget because it's almost like Michael Jordan using things to
finding things,
finding things. So I started that year, and I started finding things that would put light a fire up under me. But the kids started doing it. They're like, Coach, you see what he said on Instagram? They're gonna beat us by 20. They would use things like that as motivation, and that was just that particular team that year. So it's like getting these guys to understand what fall league is really about.
Yeah.
And like I told him, I said, dude, we've played 4 games. We only won 1. And that team wasn't really that good. We were just a little better. But everybody that wins and beats you, you're thinking it's personal towards the individual. No, it's what you're wearing on your jersey. They're jumping up and down like they just won a state championship. You just won a state championship. So everybody's going to come at you with their best.
That's a badge of honor, the fact that they're caring so much about beating you in fall league.
Yeah, and I know they don't get it. They don't like it.
Yeah.
I said, listen, just be patient. Right now, let's just get better at the things we're not good at.
You know? With some of those struggles that you've seen with maybe the way the players are taking fall league, the way the parents are seeing it, all that, have you ever thought about not doing that? Or is it just something you feel like you got to do because everybody else is doing it? Or do you feel like it is a useful tool?
Okay, so to answer that question, we didn't play in TABC this year. Okay, this was the first time I did. And, you know, a lot of times when you go out there and you got young guys and you're not really, you know, everybody wants to come to your court to see not who you're playing, but what you have and how you look. And they will judge you and your team. And you play that in June. And they'll judge the team like, Kimball's down. They're not going to be good. Blah, blah, blah. And then you get a few writers to say a few things. And then coaches and stuff, they're not coming out to your school in the fall, college coach, you know, because of that. So I just sat out this year, didn't play it, didn't see the need to. And it just piqued everybody's curiosity. So when we got back, I said, okay, I have to play fall league because there are things I know we're not doing well and not getting. So they have to, 1, learn how to play together. 2, they have to try to execute these things against other teams versus themselves in practice every day. So they can really, really see it because, you know, you ever had kids that think they're playing defense, but they're not playing hard defense.
Right.
It's a difference in playing and playing hard.
Yeah.
So these guys are going against each other in the summer up here in workouts in the fall and think they're playing hard. No, you're not. Until you go against another team and you see how hard you have to play. And so they're starting to figure that out a little bit. Now it's about these fall games, putting together a full fall game where you're giving it everything you got. You're diving for loose balls. You're taking charges. You're rotating on defense. If you get tired, raise your hand. We got plenty of guys over there. Come on in, you know. So they're starting to get it, but it's a process.
I appreciate you sharing so much about what life has kind of been like for you after winning a state championship, because the majority of us, I mean, I've been doing this 11 years as a head coach, 16 overall, never been in that arena. And the goal is to be there, but there's a good chance a lot of great coaches retire without ever being there. So a lot of things have to line up. But you know what isn't talked a lot about is what is it like right after you do it? How long were you, as far as that you win that night, how long was it until business is back to usual within the program? Or where, you know, that high was just kind of staying for a while? How quick did that turnaround happen for you?
It was a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was so okay. So this is my 17th year now as a head coach, and I've been in DISD for 24 years, something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
And as an assistant coach and a head coach in the district for 17 years. So that was my 16th year. And man, I always had dreams about what it would look like or how I would be if I wanted. To be honest, we were being pulled everywhere. The
Yeah.
team, the coaching staff, me. But after spring break, before the Final Four, because went to the NABC and go to that every year, met with two of my younger coaches, one of my newer coaches, rather. He's aspiring to be a head coach out of the Houston area. He said, Coach, can I run off season this year? I thought about it because I'm always, let's get going. So you know what, yeah. I said, and I told you pick another assistant. You guys show me the plan, what you're going to be doing, weights, what you're going to do, everything like that. Show it to me. I need that at the beginning of every week, and you got it.
Nice.
And he did. He did, man. And I was fortunate enough to have somebody.
Yeah.
I stuck my head down there between April and May. I probably stuck my head in there twice. They had it, man. I was so thankful for that. And I was able to really finally, I could leave a little early, make it to my son's basketball practice.
Yeah.
Right after school, I could go whatever meetings I had, other things. I knew they had it, man. And I want to say he did a really good job. Coach Carrington did, and his name's Ryan Carrington, and did a great job. So it was back to business. I met with my coaching staff probably like after the Final Four. Told those guys, listen, we got guys playing AAU. Let's start finding out, get a list of their the team they play for and get their schedule. Everybody's got to start getting out of these games. Incoming freshmen that we have coming, got to get to their game. Those 8th graders got to get to their games. So they were out. So I will give them that. I got 8 assistant coaches.
Wow.
That's unreal in high school.
Yeah.
To be a 4A school with about 1,300 kids. But, we get 3 paid coaches, and then the rest are former college players that are teachers in this building. So, they do the UIL pay where they can actually coach. There's not paid. But the paid coaches are actually over freshman JV. Then you get associate head coach. Then you get a guy that's a coach that's down there. So that's really worked for us, getting certified teachers in that have played college ball that can be in there and help. And a lot of people, a lot of these guys just like being a part of the program, man.
Yeah.
Because now I can have a head coach on a freshman and assistant, head coach on a JV and assistant, head coach on a varsity assistant, 2 assistants. It works. And now each kid has a coach that they can go to. And if it's after school, individuals, these 3 guys, these are your 3 guys. You got them 3 days a week, get their individuals in 30 minutes, shooting, ball handling, whatever. And being able to delegate that responsibility has really worked for me instead of trying to put all that on me. So, it was after about 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so after winning, it was back to business, but I delegated responsibility. Because, as a head coach, that can be a lot on us, man. Just trying to do everything.
I was going to say, I think the most impressive part about that is the trust that you had, the ability you had to let go. Because I think control, we want our players to play free, and we want to limit the control we have over them on the floor. But us giving up control of training, scheduling, the plan, the almighty practice plan, that's hard to do.
That's hard to do. It took me a while. I lost a couple of coaches behind that. I was doing everything.
Yeah.
Where you're going to do this, you're going to do this. But I'm involved in all that now. It helps because, I'm still doing a practice plan. And this is where we're going over there. They get an email, they print it out. We go, start stretching at 3:15. Everything's timed. We kind of try to run it like a college practice or whatever because we went to several schools over the years. And, but they go right in and they get it. And some days I'm right in there. Some days I'm just kind of watching, walking around. And every now and then, if I see something I don't like, I'll just step in, blow the whistle, and just go off on everybody, But it's about, I still have to, they hold me accountable, my coaches, but I have to hold myself accountable. I hold them accountable. They hold those kids accountable, and the kids hold each other accountable. And it's been working the last few years. You said one thing, man. Man, I'm gonna tell you, getting to state is hard within itself. We probably have the most games in America that you have to play to get to a state championship. I don't know with California and Florida.
UIL is tough. Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah. And 7 games and a 7th game is that. Louisiana, they play 4 and they're there. certain Arkansas plays like 3 or 4.
Taps is 5, so I figure I got a pretty good shot if I get past that first round. Okay.
Yeah, if you,
yeah,
but being 5A, 4A, 5A, 6A is hard, and for us to be able to do it 3 years straight, it's like, I tell you this, I thought I knew how to get there as being an assistant because I've been there twice as an assistant coach. But when you're the head coach, nah, it's not, because you're assistant, you can just sit over and tell this guy as a head coach. But once we found out, learned the blueprint, one, of course, the ball has to go in the hoop. No injuries when you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
No injuries, ball got to go in. Things got to happen right. Kids got to make plays. You got to manage, control the timeout, just like you do in a regular season, but also a lot of luck. It does take that. And that's the hard part. And to go back to back, it's like you once you find out the blueprint, that comes to, I'm gonna give you an example. Sometimes first place in district is not the best route to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could be like, man, we need to win the district. No, it's okay. Hey, we beat this team, we beat them. When we don't, hey, we can split with them, flip a coin. Hopefully we get second place. We go second, best route. Our hardest game may be in the third round. We get past there, we're in the regional finals. Also, it's about where you play. I've had played teams, man. I try to rotate certain gyms, for certain rounds that I've won at in the past. I'm giving all this up now. It's a secret, but it's something I can, because I've won and I would love to win another one. But hey, I'm in the Texas history. But
that's right.
Sometimes it's just about, okay, this coach wants to play here. No, we need to go play here, or we get this neutral site. They think it's about fans. Okay, I'll go there, play you here. I know it's a little closer to you, but I've won my last 3 playoff games in that gym. The ball.
The big deal.
Until you get to regionals, some people play with Spalding, Bodden, that Wilson ball. And they got 2 types of Wilson ball. I played a team a couple years ago. I said, well, man, let's just go with the Spalding, whatever. Man, we don't really have no Spalding. What about Wilson? I said, well, I don't have no Wilson ball. He said, well, we don't either. I said, okay, well, I got to call our district office. I said, hey, I need some Wilson balls. He said, well, what kind? I said, well, we just need 6. He said, well, there are 2 types. I said, well, send me 3 and 3. You got the Wilson outdoor, it's a lighter orange, and you got the college Wilson, the dark orange. So we go to the place, we work out with the balls. We're the home team. Made sure we were home. We get there, they got 2 bags full of Wilson balls. I got tricked. So I go to the counter before the game. I said, whose ball is this? Oh, that's their ball. I said, no, I'm the home team. I took the ball and put it down and kicked it to their bench. I went to my point guard. I said, which one are we playing with? He said, coach, we're going to play with the college Wilson. Now, it's 2 totally different balls, but we practiced with it already. We put that ball up there. They couldn't make a 3. They couldn't make a 3 with that ball. We hit 17 threes that game.
Yikes.
17.
That's a good number right there. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, some people think, whatever ball is whatever. No, sometimes it can make a difference because that bond ball gets a little slippery.
Yep.
And now we're having to play with it.
The seams are different too. The seams and the bottoms are wider. Yeah.
They are. And then the way you hit the rim if you're playing on a tight rim. So, but now since we've gone bond, we got number bond balls because we're playing with. So
you're right on the money though. The assistant coaches don't think about all those details. And I love the fact that you said something I feel like everybody knows, but not a lot of people talk about, is the luck that actually is involved. Because like we said at the very beginning, there's a lot of great coaches out there that have the right scheme for their team. They can execute it. The belief system, like you talked about, is there. But throughout that season, grades, injuries, like all the things that can go wrong, do they go wrong for you? The years where they don't, man, that's that magic, that lightning in a bottle. You got a shot. But then on top of it, arena, basketballs, how far you're traveling, how does that affect? Like You're right on
Yes,
the money, coach.
it
It's
does.
just not
If
as
there's
easy
a
as
wall,
let the boys play. It's
let them
not
play.
that easy.
It's not that easy. If there's a wall, some kids shoot better with that wall
No
right behind
doubt.
the goal.
Yep.
Some kids don't shoot well in open air arenas. Some do. If I know we're going to go play at, let's say the Garland, the center out there for
Yep.
regionals, then I'll make sure we get a practice in Ellis Davis Fieldhouse just because it's an open air, especially if we hadn't played in one all year. Just so my kids, because there's no backdrop behind those baskets, so they have to go get shooting on them. Man, it's all strategic. Like I never feel like I was this great coach. Oh, I never feel like that. And I know some coaches that I feel are really great coaches, really X and O guys, things like that, that they've never had a sniff of a state championship or being down there. And some gotten down there and didn't win it. And I would pick guys like them, their brains. Me, I just feel like I've with the talent I have, I put them in position to where they can help the team. This kid may not be a system kid, he may be a one-on-one kid. So he doesn't fit well in what we're doing, but when I get it to him, it's like an isolation deal where he can score. Or this kid's a good defender, he's a great shooter, he's a spot up, he can't run over off a stagger screen. So I got to have a play, a ghost screen or whatever like that, where he can just pitch and let it go. I mean, it's changing every year. And my coaches this year, he was like, we went to U of H, Kelvin Sampson's coaching clinic in 2019. And I never forget, the year before, I had Kobe Williams as point guard, went to Louisiana Tech. He's at Tulsa now. 2 6'8" kids, 2 shooters. I ran a lot of high-low and a lot of flat screens and let Kobe go off that flat screen and just make a play to the shooters on the bigs. The next year, couldn't do that with that team. Trying to do it, we're losing fall league games. I'm trying to figure it. So we went to U of H. Kelvin Sampson gave a free coaches clinic. Sat down and watched. I told my coaches, steal everything. Take everything from the out of bounds plays to the way they play defense to their offense. We ran a 4-out, no post, 1 in the hideaway. Okay, and we're trying to get to the nail of the paint, drive and kick, dribble drive, ghost screens, flat screens, different things like that. And then we're going to pick you up full court, half court, no middle. Force you to that sideline, that baseline. We got help coming over. This guy drops on the backside. So we started that. We went to that in October 19 of 2019. Put that in 2 weeks before the season started. We went 30-7. We made it to the regional finals and lost to Lancaster, and then they went and COVID hit, nobody played.
Yeah.
Come back the next year, we're 25-11, same system, win the state championship, lose to Beaumont United. 2022 state championship, lose to Beaumont United. Same system this year, 33-2. Now U of H was in the Final Four one of those years, and in Elite 8, I think 1 or 2 of those years too. Same system. I talked about this at TABC when I spoke. I said, no matter what you do, especially if you use this system, and I showed it, showed our fast break, showed our secondary offense coming out of the fast break, going into that, you still got to have players. You got to have some kids that can execute. And if you got a good point guard, a shooter, maybe 2 guys that can put it on the floor, and your big don't have to be 6'7", he could be 6'4", 6'3", 6'4".
Those are tough sometimes.
As long as that kid can finish around that basket, it helps if he can dunk too. But if he can just finish in that hideaway area, and you can make it work. And that's the part that's tough. And I told her, so this year, all my coaches hit me over the weekend. They say, man, we're not going to be able to do that this year. I know we've done it the last 4 years, but and so my brother sent me some stuff. He said, listen, here is the breakdown blueprint of 5 outs. I do not like 5 outs, but I'm going to have to do it.
Yeah.
Because we've tried it. We're going to pray. They just don't get it. And so now I'm going to have to go in the lab. I'm going to have to learn 5 out. And there's a lot of stuff you can do from it, I know. But I'm going to have to revamp all this stuff. And we did it in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It worked then, so I'm going to have to do it now. It's just what it is. And that's the challenge. I love challenges, but, being a coach, like, as a head coach, we have to adjust, man. I mean, Do I want to? No. The thing we've been doing has been working.
Yeah.
Why change it? But I just don't have that personnel, man.
Coaches, the Jamodi podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here. I appreciate the humility that you started out with like the fact that there are better coaches. I mean, I feel that every single day, especially getting to do this, Coach. What I've realized the most is that I don't really know a lot. That's what I realized getting to do this. But I also want to kind of push back on, like, I actually see a lot of brilliance in the way that you approach each season. And I think it's the art of coaching. The art of coaching is, like, I'm stubborn. And so I have this idea of a system. And over the years, I've really tried to force almost every player, regardless of really what they can do well, into this system. And there are times when it clicks. And then there's times where, man, it'd be smart to adjust and go to something else. And I haven't done that. I think the art of coaching is, one, having a growth mindset, going to clinics, learning new things, but then realizing, okay, what we've been doing for these guys doesn't fit this team. What does fit, that fits. We're going to do that, and we're going to be all in. And then you're kind of reinventing the wheel again. And so, Coach, I think I appreciate the humility, but I see a lot of wisdom in the way that you've approached. And obviously, success does speak for itself. The way that you've been able to get down there with different groups, and yeah, it's impressive, man.
Man, I appreciate it. The humility is there because it's me, man. I'm a geek. I was telling somebody today, I said, a former coach of mine, he's just like, man, it's a side of you people don't see. You go fishing. Your son's been fishing since he was 4. He's 9 now. He had his own fishing show on YouTube. You like to hunt. You go hunting during basketball season. Yeah, I schedule my season around opening weekend, and the second weekend. So I get it twice in November, twice in December, man. So I'm out there. So, and he said, you're a Lord of the Rings fan. You're a Star Wars geek. You teach science. You do all that stuff. I named my son after an elf. So it's like, he said, people don't know that side of you, and you're really technical when it comes to stuff, but they see this flashy guy and this guy yelling and hollering on the sideline that the kids love playing for. And I said, that's just me, man. I said, we do a lot behind the scenes in film and when the doors are closed. And I remember when I was at TABC and I spoke, this guy was like, this coach, he said, man, I'm glad you were able to break that down, bro. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, a lot of people think coaches in the inner city, we really can't coach, we just got talent. I said, well, no, that ain't true. I said, I've had talent over the years.
Yeah.
And you'll lose with that talent every time. You got prima donnas. You got guys think they're better than what they are. You got guys that got off the court problems, in court problems. Some guys that just aren't coachable, but they're 3-star, 4-star, 5-star guys. You'll go win 27, 28 games with them. You'll lose the one that you need to win. That's happened. But when you can go get those guys that just want to play, man, and just want to win, just want to be coached, want to make it 80% or above, they want to go to the next level, and they're going to run through a wall for you, and they don't have a star by their name, that's the group you can win with, and that's the group I want. And when I say, I'll give you an example, 2 things. One of my coaches before the regional finals, the night after the semis, he said, man, I talked to the guys, they're going to let me take their phones up in the hotel. Stayed out in Garland for the regional final. I'm going to give them back to them at 8:30. All right, cool. They gave them up. We get to state. They said, Coach, you're taking our phones, right? We beat San Antonio Memorial by 3, man. They were in the bed early. They gave their phones up. It was just that little bit of discipline can get you over the hump by 1 point. And I tell them, I don't care if we beat a team by 20 or by 1, as long as we get the dub. Because even if you win by 1, you won. And a couple of years ago, when you lost to Beaumont United, one of the kids, I had to run at 2 in the morning because he's out and about doing everything. He's one of the ones that missed the free throws. That the kid comes, hits the shot. If he hits the free throw, we win. He doesn't. Arsenal hits the shot. We're in overtime. But just that little bit, man, can cause you to lose. And this team, they were resilient. And when we were up 20 against Colleen Ellison, we were up 20. It was 4 minutes left. I think we were up. And I'm yelling for him like Colleen Ellison still jump trapping. So we're moving the ball. We're getting in the middle. All we got to do is just go get layups all day. They're getting it and pulling it out. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Score the ball. And they all looked at me and they said, Coach, we got it. They said, we got it. Man, I'll tell you. So during our district, you know, we don't score over 100. We don't like to go over 100 points, put 100 on somebody that's lesser talent in our district. So if you're playing a team, you know they're not as good. You play your starters, you do what you do. I probably coach them harder than lesser teams and better teams because I don't want them getting out there.
Yeah.
And I learned that from a high school coach. You coach them harder than those games because they'll start trying to dunk and throw. You're not doing what you're supposed to do in playing defense. You're going to sit your butt down over here. So they did what they were supposed to do, and then I'd pull them out, put other guys in, and let them get it that don't get as much playing time. But we'll get at 87 or 88. It may be 4 minutes left. I'll start working on our stall.
Students, please report to the main.
And I had a few coaches that would email me, text me, or even call our athletic director and said, he's a stand-up guy, man. Let our kids leave with some dignity. Didn't try to go over 100 points. I mean, even if we hit a 3 and we're at 97, no. Pull it out. I mean, one time I had to hold it for 3 minutes.
Wow.
And when those kids told me, and we were up 20 on Colleen Ellison, I'm at state, man, I want to blow them out. They said, Coach, we got it. I knew I coached them that year. I knew I did a good job with that group because they were up. And they could have put 30 some on them. And they were like, we got it. They all looked at me. Somebody got fouled. They said, Coach, we got it. Man, that's when I was already had a tick. I had to sit in that chair. And I was just like, looking, I'm like, all right, man. But I got a little emotional because you couldn't ask for anything better, man. That's when I knew. It wasn't about winning that state championship and what everybody says you did. When I knew I did a good job is the character that those boys had for pulling it out and saying, we're up, now it's time to get out of here. We got the win, let's get out of here now. We ain't gotta beat them by 30 for embarrassment. We finna get out of here.
Yeah.
That was them, man. And I was like, dang, can I have that every year? Can I have that team every year? I mean, we lost to Carter High School first game of the season in overtime. And I shouldn't have coached that game. Something was wrong with me. I didn't know, but I almost passed out in the locker room after the game. Brother took me to the hospital, found out I was severely dehydrated. Now I'm on diabetic medicine, high blood pressure medicine, all that. This stuff can get to you. And over the years, and I was in the hospital 4 days. And my point guard made one of the coaches bring him to see me. I had to take the oxygen out of my nose. I was embarrassed. I didn't want him to see. He said, Coach, I just had to see you. He said, Coach, I got it. We're going to be okay. They had to go play 2 games without me, one in Houston and one against another school. And they won them. And I was back on the sideline. I shouldn't have been. We were playing in the Hoop Fest out here at Duncanville over Thanksgiving. And we beat Vashon, which was number 23 team in the country out of Missouri. And we beat San Antonio Brennan, who was number 2 in 6A. And then we flew to Atlanta and we played TSF, the Skill Factory, their post-grad team. These guys, 19-year-old post-grad, we playing. And check it out, man, we're playing the NBA rules, right? Because I guess that's what they do.
Nice.
24-second shot clock, resets to 14 seconds. Foul starts over every quarter. 16 fouls, whatever else goes with that. Only thing they said we didn't have to play with the NBA three-point line.
Okay, what about 3 seconds? What about defensive 3 seconds?
They call that too.
That's a tough shift
That's
from
tough.
high school ball.
That's
Yeah.
tough. But we never really got caught in it because we're playing man and we're moving.
Yeah.
You're in help, but they were so good, man. They
Yeah.
were good, and I had to figure it out. So what we did, they were big. Make or miss, as soon as that ball came out, we were gone. Oh, I forgot, 10-minute quarters. That extra 2 minutes is something.
Yeah, it's a whole other quarter. Yeah.
I had to play every kid I had. I mean, even guys that
Yeah.
got to get 2 or 3 minutes to give guys breaks. And one of my players I didn't have because he had been injured. We beat him 93 to 80, 86 or something. And then the next night we had to go play Wheeler, who was the number 9 team in the country. Had the point guard Isaiah Collier, number 1 point guard in the country, went to USC. They're 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", 6'8", 6'6" guard, Iowa State, 6'5" guard somewhere. That was the first time I've ever walked in a gym, man, and looked at a high school team. And I was like, God, no. It looked like a college team. And we were in their butts, man, 3.5 quarters. We just ran out of gas that last 5 minutes, and that's when they took off on us, beat us by 16. That night, they looked at me in the locker room, and they said, Coach, we're not going to lose another game. And I didn't believe it. I said, okay. 28 straight.
Wow.
Some were big wins, some were by 1 or 2, some were by 2, some were by, but they won them.
Yeah.
And to be able to, the hardest thing about last year was keeping them winning. Because I believe you need a drop a game here or there, to get back in the lab, refocus, go over film. All right, man.
Not get complacent. Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps you honest. It keeps you honest. It keeps you hungry. They got a little complacent at times. They started feeling themselves, and I got to go and be an a-hole and go off, and y'all ain't did nothing. And I told my coach, I said, man, by the time we got to the middle of the district, I said, we can't lose a game no more. We got to win now. Because we started seeing how things were going to shape up for the playoffs. I said, hey, man, it was 28 straight. Finished number 24 out of top 25 USA Today in the country. That was like, it was like a miracle year because we talk about injuries, man. They all were hurt. They all were injured.
Wow.
They played through it. My big kid, we were doing a defensive drill. One of my other forwards, elbow hit his wrist. He broke this before the second round playoff game. Went to the trainer. They say he may need to go. He said, no, I'm not going. I'll wrap it. He said, if I go to the doctor, they're going to cast it.
That's right. That's 3 to 4 weeks, no matter what. Yeah.
My kid's shoulder came out of place in the regional finals game. They put it back in, taped it. He went back out there and played. And he played like that all the way through. I mean, my point guard's ankle had been sprained. He would get treatment every day, not practice, sit over there, shoot around, and play in the game. I mean, all of them were hurt, and they just that don't happen. I know some kids, man. They'll shut it down. I've had players be like, "No, I ain't playing." I mean,
as coaches these days, it's really hard to help them push past things, not just because of social media, but parents as well. It's like, when you and I were playing, it was our coaches could literally say like, it's coach speak. But if you care enough, you'll play through that. Like that was kind of the message that I always learned, or my parents even told me like, "Can you go?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I could go." Like they let me. It's hard to do that now, where it's you got to listen to them, but when you have those players that their level not of quit, I mean that, but their level of pain that they can push through a lot. It's a fortunate thing these days for sure.
And they were all on the same page. I even had, you're going to have your ups and downs during the season, as you know. It's going to be some, parents with saying things at home to the kids. Kids come back feeling a certain kind of way about another kid, and things like that happen, man. The one thing we did differently last year was we would always do team building things where we go to coach's house for Super Bowl or, cookout, but we did a little bit more last year. So
you think that helped?
It did, because we had a situation to where 2 guys were feeling like my point guard wasn't hitting them when they were open. And he could score 2. I mean, and it was in the middle. It was like going into the 3rd round, man. It was some problems. And luckily we won in the second round, and it happened in the third round. And I remember they were out there, and I took my point guard out, and we started going up a little bit in the third round. And I was going to put him back in, and he said, "No, coach, they're playing good. Lead them." He just wanted to win, man. And he was on the verge of getting his 2,000 point that game, which he ended up getting it. And we presented him with some stuff. Well, going into the semis, we met in film after film. I said, "All right, man, I know some issues on this team right now." And I said, "Y'all gonna fix it." I said, "Y'all need to be in the gym in 15 minutes. No assistant coach nor myself needs to know what y'all discuss. And everybody needs to be involved." And I closed that door. Y'all got 15 minutes. They came out, played Red Oak in the regional semifinals. I remember he went down one time. He missed the guard that could shoot it. And I was like, "Yo, do you?" And the guard was like, "Coach, it's all good. I'm good." Next time he found him, he hit a three. Next time he found him, he hit a three, he hit two. But he was good. He didn't put his head down. He didn't do that. And talking to that point guard this summer in my office, and I said, "Yeah, man, I told y'all had to fix it." He said, "Coach, that was the best thing because all it took was a conversation. All it took was a conversation." That's what he told me. That kid, that shooter, ended up getting regional finals MVP. And then the other kid that had a problem with, he ended up getting state tournament MVP. Now, this kid, point guard, got all state. He made all state. But he saw that it's not about myself. It's for the betterment of the team. If I got to make sure these guys are happy so we can win, you get it? Yeah. I got to make sure these guys are happy. And he told me, he said, "Coach, man, I just want to win." He said, "I want to win a championship. So whatever I need to do, I'm going to do it." And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of games that point guard got us out of it. He was the best player on the court on both sides. But I told him, now you're growing up. I said, because when you get to college, you ain't going to have to do all this because they recruit guys that can go score. You got to get the ball.
You better be spraying it. Yeah.
You better be. Yeah. I said, yeah. Forget all that 5'11", I'm a scoring point guard type stuff. Don't nobody need no scoring point guard right now.
The Jamodi Podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products. A lot of golden nuggets there with what you just said. And first, I want to just celebrate your authenticity with, showing emotion, showing your passion for your players and for the game. And like, there's nothing fake about that, and yeah. I can imagine, I can understand why you get players that will run through a brick wall for you. Because if you're willing on a hoops talk like this with somebody you don't know really well to just show how much you really care about those guys, then golly, they obviously know it. Yeah. And so a lot of coaches talk about, and you've heard this quote out there, that player-led teams are better than coach-led teams. And I agree with that, obviously. But it starts with the coach leading the culture in the direction so that players can take hold, they can take reins of it and become a player-led team. It seems to me like you've done that really well.
Yes, over the years, like I said, last 4 or 5 years, I've had some really good teams, and man, we were really talented, and it just, I had to come in and change my approach and how I exactly wanted the culture. The motivation and the goal was the same. Okay, let's go win, let's go play hard. I took this from Billy Gillespie years ago when he was at A&M. We play hard, we play smart, we play together. And we say that before every practice, we say it before every game. And at the end, we say family. So that stuff stays the same. But the culture and the way I was doing it, I had to change that. So, and especially after the incident with the young man down at State last year and everything, that took a toll on my life. And I said, I had to ask myself, I don't even want to do this anymore, because it was traumatic. And when I regrouped, it wasn't until the summer, I regrouped and we brought this thing back in and I said, this is how I'm going to do it. These are the type of guys I want on my staff. Because I had some people say, man, when you did this and when you changed the way you did that, man, no. It started with me changing the way I thought, getting a few guys that was on my bench, off my bench, bringing in some new guys, bringing in some older guys that had been with me.
Yeah.
And then changing how the type of player I wanted on my team, and then changing how we were going to do things outside of basketball, in the building, in school, and then on the court. So home, school, court. All that changed. And if you're not doing this, you're not playing. If you don't play defense, you will not get on this court. If you don't have an 80 or above, by the time report cards come out, this is what's going to happen here. They met those expectations. And like I said, you have your little issues. That's any time you're dealing with boys, high school. But man,
humans. You're dealing with humans.
Way more. We had way more good times than bad, man. Like way more. Every day was put it this way. We'll go 4 days out of a week. We're going to have great practices. Great. 1 day out of that week is going to be a good practice. Never a bad practice. It was so different. And I said, this is what I want. I had 2 guys, 3-star kids, the rest of them not a star. But we were able to make them get on that court and look like they were the best guys out there, the best guys in the state, because of what we demanded from them defensively. And then this year, we're doing the same thing. They're younger, they're trying to get it, but it's the way it has to be. I've had a couple of kids throughout the summer get contact from a buddy of mine, or hey man, this kid is sophomore, man. They moving, man. They want to come to Kimball. They looking to transfer to school. I said, who is it? Always such a, well, yeah, he could be a bit of a head case, but he could play. He's a little bit of head. Don't want him. Don't want it. If he ain't already in my program, he a little nutty. I can deal with it if he's been here. But I don't want nothing new that's gonna come in.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's gonna I don't want it. So when I used to be like, yeah, I'll take that kid. I need that kid. Now, after winning with the group I had, you can find a good group that you can win with. They're going to do what you ask them to do.
Coach, what made the change? And you talked about some things that had happened that were pretty traumatic, but like what all led up to that? Because I feel like a lot of coaches are in that position sometimes where they look at the culture of their program and they realize without even intentionally letting it happen that there's been slippage, that there are some things that need to change, either for our own happiness, our joy of actually getting to do this, but or a culture that will actually lead to winning. But then not many people, I feel like, have the courage to actually make the changes that are necessary. What led to that?
Just past failures, man. I mean, dude, and what? I can just go back to 2020. We were 30-7. The next year we were 25-11. 2022 we were 30-9. We're getting the state and we're losing. And I'm like, I'm having to discipline guys throughout the season because of late for practice, missing the team bus, talking crazy to somebody, having to sit guy down for a quarter or a half when I really should have suspended them for the whole game. Then outside people, we're playing in a big event, Hoop Fest, and wonder why I'm bringing this kid off the bench because I told them they got to wear their team shoe, and they decided, they wear their team shoe for 4 games, but then once we play in a big event, they want to come out with their Grinch Kobe's on, Kobe Grinches, and everybody else is in the team shoe, but y'all over here. So it's basically like David Ruffin and the Temptations. I mean, that kind of, and I'm okay. You're gonna sit the first quarter then, and I know your school that you signed with at the game, so trying not to kill you, but also allowing you to play. So maybe down the road, your mind is right, so I can go try to win a state championship. When in all, that should have never happened. And if you did it, you not playing, I don't care who's at the game. And if you're not going to do what I asked you to do, you can go sit in the stands. You don't have to play again. And if I would have done that in the beginning, because I took L's in 2022, like we lost 9 games. 2 of those games we should have lost. 7 of those games we lost because of disciplinary reasons. Because I didn't start a guy out. This guy had to take him out the game for the whole second half, or that kind of stuff. And you just, like I say, you got talent, you got guys. I think I do a good job of managing turmoil or dysfunction, but it can take a toll on you mentally and physically. And that's what kind of caught up with me when at the Carter game, because it was stuff from the previous year and throughout the summer. But I know how to manage it. I know how to deal with it. I just got tired of dealing with that, man. And I'm like, I would rather lose. I told a kid in my practice the other day, he's a senior, wasn't doing what I asked him to do. I said, son, I'm tell you something. You're going to do what you told to do it the way we want to do it, or you can transfer. And guess what? I don't care where you live, where you stay, I will sign off on you. Maybe you could go do that at another school. And I will lose with this sophomore over here because I know he's busting his tail. He's showing up early in the morning, getting shots up. He's in the weight room. I'll take that L this year with him because I know what I got coming back. I used to say stuff like that.
Yeah. In this culture today, I mean, that's a really quick way to decimate the talent on your team. But the culture that you set up, and I feel like the fact that they believe what you're saying, it's not just a hollow comment that coach doesn't mean that. No, like, you're going to get their attention pretty quick. And when you hold those high standards like that, one quote I like to think about quite a bit is never let a player or a parent steal your joy. Like the joy that we have for coaching, the joy that we have for getting to work with these young men. But a big part of that is who we allow into our program. Are we allowing those energy vampires in? Because if we're allowing it, then you got to look in the mirror and ask yourself, why am I letting that happen?
Oh, I've had to do it this year. Man, such wants to bring his kid to your school. Who? Nah, daddy crazy. I don't deal with that. I don't deal with that. Kid, okay, I don't want to deal with the parent.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's different reasons why. You're absolutely right, man. I just had to ask myself, what are you willing to do now just to win? You know, yeah, you may need this point guard that's good. He can do this, but man, you got a kid over here that's coming up. Yeah, that kid's good, but then he may be this kind of kid. You know, he may be somebody you can't really work with. And I used to take those guys. Yeah, I'll take them. That's what I'm looking for. I'm struggling now at the PG position, but I know I'm young. But guess what? I just told my coach, because we're going to have to bring him along.
Yep.
This is what we dealt with right here. We're going to bring him along. I said, I'm okay with it because I get yes, sirs, no, sirs, show up early, they work hard. Their IQ's just not there right now. But they sophomores and juniors, take them.
But that can grow. But the intangible, I think that the character part now is like an intangible, just like diving on the floor is. You know, the reliability that players can give you, that gives you just a sense of ease. Like players want coaches to show up the same way every day. But I don't think it's talked about the other way, that coaches want players that show up the same way every day. So that when we walk in, we don't have to wonder, how is he today? With our players, or is he going to be here on time? Like, there's a sense of peace. And I have that. I'm at a small Christian private school that we don't have. You talked about stars. There's no stars like any here. But for the most part, there's a peace of mind I have every day with these guys. And there is a little bit give and take with that, I think, as coaches.
Do you have you been to the playoffs yet?
I have. Yep.
You want to know how to win a TABS championship? You want
sure. Absolutely.
You want the secret?
Yeah.
All right. So, see your board. I started this back in 2020. And I don't know what made me think of it, but I remember. So in 2001, 2001, 2002, I was an assistant coach here at Kimball. And we were on the bus getting ready to head to Waco because you were playing regionals in Waco at Baylor back then.
Yep.
And I remember the bus went the wrong way, and we had to turn around in this parking lot, this Big T Bazaar, that's what it's called. We had to turn around the parking lot and then go back up the street to get on the highway to go 35 south. Well, We won both games Waco, so we're going to state. So when we left Kimball, and I'm assistant coach under Snoop Johnson, he made the bus driver go back into that same parking lot again and turn around and go back to Waco. He's that superstitious. So I'm very, very superstitious. I mean, we're going to wear the same shirt, pants, everything all the way through the playoffs. First year we were wearing black suits. Man, I was just throwing my suit in the dryer, man, like drying it and hanging it back up because it was just wet and from sweat. And we wore them all the way through. So blueprint. First you have round one. Put a box there. Put the site, whatever the name of the school you're going to be playing at. Okay. Then you draw your arrow. Then you have round two. Okay. You put the site, time, there you go. Round three. And then you do it all the way up till I'll draw some buildings and the little sky thing or whatever, the little needle, and I'll draw San Antonio, and then I'll draw the Alamo Dome and all that. So basically, how can you tell somebody where you're trying to go if you don't give them the map, or these days, allow them to put the address in their GPS? If you're saying, man, we got to rewind one, we're trying, you have to show them where you go. So I'm drawing this whole map of San Antonio. So my first round game, let's just say this year was Mesquite Poteet. So we'll put Poteet in there. Okay, and the time and the site, we play with Skyline and all that there. And then when we come back, we win that game, we come back in field. Coach, you got to cross that out. Now we're there. Now I got the whole map drawn, man. I-35, all that. I got the map drawn. It stays on that board. And every time we come back, they'll say, Coach, cross that out. Coach, cross it out. When we got back from San Antonio on that Sunday, win the state championship, Monday morning, we were up here designing our rings, okay? That Monday morning, the two boxes for the state championship were sitting here blank with, we knew we were playing first, but the second we didn't. And I'm just sitting there, they got Balfour in there, they're doing their ring design. They say, Coach, hey man, you got to cross them out. So I went up there, X, because I didn't think about it anymore. I actually still have the poster. And then I took a picture of it on my phone. But I would do this. I've done this 4 years straight, man. 3 years, I mean. I put it on Twitter for people to see it. I say, y'all want to know how we win the
you did?
championship? I put it on Twitter. Every year I put a different map on there. I said, here's the blueprint. And I'll get a few people to hit like and man, that's a good idea, but they don't pay attention to it. I'm giving you the blueprint.
Yeah.
Now you got to work, you got to practice, you got to do all that. But once we got to the playoffs, you start over, right? So here we go. Round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I don't know. It's a psychological thing, you know.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I think there's, from a player's perspective, you talk about state championship, but it's this abstract thing that they really do. They can't even place it. Like, how do you actually get there? Like, it just seems like this. It might as well be getting to the moon. Like, what are the steps that it takes to actually do it? And then I think what you do is you place something like that in front of them, do an activity like that in front of them where maybe just a peace of mind or a recognition of, oh, okay, like that's literally how we do it. It gives them, I don't know, something to work for rather than like something real that they can kind of see and hold on to rather than this, hey, we're just going to go win state. How do we get there? It's just going to take a lot of hard work. Okay. You know, like that's, I think, what we all kind of do. I love that idea.
It's like, we know that's where we want to go. We know we got a good enough team. We look at the other teams in district. Okay. We just want one of those spots. We don't ever say we need to win district. We need to finish segment. We just want a playoff spot. That's all we fighting for is a playoff spot. Get a playoff spot that gives us a chance. Now, when we get that chance, here we go. Round 1 is who we playing. We got to knock them out to get here. They're standing in our way to get there. And we just go one by one, man. I'm like, if I did it that first time and we're okay, I did it the second time, and did it a third time. I mean, did it a fourth time. So I'm gonna do it again this year, and like I said, I kind of know, but you never know. Like 2021, we won our first 4 games. And then all of a sudden, this happened 2 years in a row. Same 2 kids decided to wear their own shoe. And we lost by 20. And then we went on a 9-game losing streak after that. We played the Richardson teams. We played some big-time teams. We went on a 9-game losing streak. We get in district. We win. We lose. We win. I think we took second. Yeah, we took second. But and we had to play a tiebreaker game against South Oak Cliff. We played them 4 times that year, twice in district, 1 in a tournament, tiebreaker, and we beat them 3 out of the 1, so we took second. I told them 2 games before the playoffs started that they were going to lose in the second round. And they were like, "Why you say that, coach?" I said, "Because you're still not playing like we need to play to win a state. You're nowhere near it. Y'all are bickering with each other. Some of y'all don't like each other." I said, "But it's cool because you'll beat whoever we play in the first round because you're going to be better than them." Yeah. I said, second round, we're out of there, and it's cool. We can take all this stuff up, pack it up, put it up, have that end of the year long speech, and y'all can go on. And I can get ready for next year. And so, man, I think they took that to heart because I watched them take it to another level. Second round playoff game, we were down 11 against one of those Frisco schools. And they decided at halftime they didn't want to go home. And they came back and won. And then they came back and won against Highland Park. They came back and won against Lancaster. We were down 20 at the beginning of the fourth quarter, number 1 team in 5A. You don't do that. Yeah. Came back and sent it into overtime. Came back against what school we played in Angelo in San Angelo. Starts with an A. They had that really, really good team down there. But we played them, came back, sent that into overtime. I mean, so they were called as comeback kids, and the kids started believing. I've never seen a team turn it on in the playoffs, but they did it at the right time. Usually you're in district and but it happens. And did that year, did this year before, did this last year, and it's just a tool so they can see where we're going, who we're playing, where we're at.
It made me think of a Kelvin Sampson quote that he said on our talk about, if you don't know where you're going, then any road will take you there. And I think that's kind of, you're eliminating that idea that this is the road. Like we know where we want to go. This is the road. And I think there's a lot to that.
Yep. And it's just what made me think of is, like I said, when he made the wrong turn and went in their parking lot, he said, "No, we got to follow the same route. We got to follow." So what? I start thinking the route. What's the route to get there? So I'm going to draw it, but I'm going to leave those boxes empty because I don't know where we're playing. Once I know we're playing, we put that in there. Man, the way we watch film, I had a coach ask me at the Final Four. We were sitting down, and he said, "Man, how do y'all watch film? Because I'm trying to see my program, I said, "Well, we don't watch full games. Now, the coaches, we do. I don't even watch the full game. I got 3 assistants that are in charge of all that. They do it. And then they break it down and tell me what they think and what we need to do. I have a defensive coach. I have an offensive coach, but I would handle the offense. My defensive coaches tell me what we need to do. If I need to tweak something, I tell them this is what we're going to do. We'll go in. They've already got it broken down. So these guys are watching about 15 minutes of film, but they're clips. Okay. And then those guys will get certain clips, text to their phone about this is the guy you're going to, they might get 5, 6 clips of a guy that they're guarding. Okay. And then they'll know how they're going to defend them. These kids' attention span are too low, man. You can't watch a full game.
Yeah.
So we break it down for them. And then they watch parts of it, the game, but then it's all broken down with notes. We're out of there, we're practicing. And one of my coaches was like, "Man, how is this helping the kid? How is it help?" Dude, trust me, it works. And you just can't sit in here and then rewind. Yeah, you can do it a little bit, but you got to have it broken down. Why didn't you rotate here? Look at this here. Why didn't you? Yeah. And they got to watch that. I had some film sent to my big kid last year, and he was trying to post and spin inside to the right. And we told him in film that the help is going to come out the baseline. So he has to come back inside to the left that kid gets the ball and he's trying to spin to the right. I told him at halftime, I asked coach, I said, did you send him his clips? He said, yeah. I said, you didn't watch your clips. And the point guard, him and their best friend, he looked at me, my point guard, said, Coach, he didn't watch them. He don't ever watch it.
What a horrible friend right there.
He said, hey, I love T-John because he would have his own room on our trips when we go out of town, man. Nobody wanted to room with him. The Cannon, my center, would be like, I'm not rooming with him. And T-John's like, yeah, because I'm going to make you cut that TV off. He don't like to go to sleep with the TV on. I got to go to sleep with the TV on. T-John, he's going to make you go to bed.
Wow.
He's going to make you hey, man, you can put your phone down. We got a game in the morning. We got a game tomorrow. And so the kids like, and what T-John say, Coach, I'm fine. I can go solo. I might have my own room.
They didn't want that level of accountability around them right there.
No, they didn't.
Coaches, the Jamodi podcast is powered by Ballogy. Manage and measure your players' skill development and increase accountability year-round utilizing the Ballogy app. Boost inter-squad competition with drills backed by the National High School Basketball Coaches Association, including a 40-shot Ballogy skills assessment. Please visit ballogy.com/teams for information on how you can provide this resource for your team. You mentioned at the very beginning about how chaotic the spring and summer's been, and even still in this fall, getting pulled around to different things. So with all that, all that you do with your team and the success you've had, how do you balance that coaching and family life?
Years ago I was consumed, and it was hard, man. I mean, I don't even know if I was trying, man. I mean, I was so into trying to win a state championship, these boys and all their problems and everything like that, man. I got one son, and he's phenom quarterback. He's a point guard. He's 9, and it's like this past year, I just had to make it up in my mind. I had to find some way to balance and get to his game, some of his practices, then get to this stuff. And even with my wife and things like that, and being able to try to do more stuff. And they would try to come to my stuff, but as soon as he started playing sports, they couldn't make it to some of my games because he'd have practice or he'd be playing. But my son, he was at the state semifinal game. They came to that. He was on the court with us pregame. He was shooting threes, and she came back to the state championship game, and she asked me, is it okay if Reese doesn't come to the state championship game? I said, why he can't come? He said they have a tournament, and they're going to be, if they win, they'll play for the championship on Sunday.
Wow. Yeah.
And he feels he needs to be there with his team because he's a point guard so they could win. And I had no problem with it because he thinks just like me, because that's something I would do. And so he didn't come to that. She came, so I was happy she was there. And then we got back Sunday. The media was here. We did the whole post-game stuff. And then I hopped in my car and drove straight to his championship game. So there I am with my medal on. And then he gets MVP of the tournament. They win. He has his trophy. He has his medal on. So I was like, 2 championship guys right here. And we took a picture like that or whatever. So that was classic, man. And but it was hard. It was hard. But now I make time. If me and my son can take a morning or a day or whenever and go fishing, we do that. We'll grill at the house, maybe watch a Cowboy game during the week, something, man. I make that happen because I didn't want this to consume me now as he's 9 and coming into his own, and I missed that time.
Yeah.
Because you can't get it back.
Yeah,
and it consumes you, man.
I think what I heard kind of get from that is that it takes energy and it takes some compromise.
Yeah, it does.
Because you can't just expect the others, the other people in your life to just make it all work around us. And right. So we have to, and the understanding that you had, I was trying to think in my situation, when my sons were younger, if we did make it to state, and my reaction to my wife saying, hey, is it all right if they don't come? I think I would have been like, are you serious? It's state, but it's that understanding, that compromise, that as important as this is to us, I don't know, man, this popped in my head. I think it's the same way that we've got to be careful as head coaches to value the other things going on in our schools, to understand that with our dance program,
what they're doing is just as important as this state championship is to us. I don't know. That just popped in my head, but I think I lack that understanding sometimes.
Yeah, I remember our new baseball coach last year. We were trying to get in the weight room. We had to do this, we had to do that, and I remember, man, I said, I'm kind of bulldozed. No, man, we got to get in there. And he said something. He was new, good guy. He's like, man, coach, I'm trying to win it too. And I thought about that. I said, man, you're right, dog. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We'll work it out. Because I didn't think like that. I'm thinking like, where was hot here? You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get this thing done. And I had to think about, you know what, this is a program. It's our program, everybody. So when one wins, everybody wins. So football winning, baseball winning, track winning, soccer winning, we're all winning. We all need to support each other. And I got, over the last few years, a little complacent, meaning that tunnel vision, I was just worried about my team.
Yeah.
I told my boys, we're going to make sure y'all going to be at some of these home football games with your shirt on, all y'all going. Okay? We're going to go to homecoming. We're going to go to the Kimball Carter game. We're going to go to the South Oak Cliff game. We're going to be there and we're going to represent for our school, for the team, and then show everybody we're here. Things like that. The Carter game, all of them showed up. We had 100 alumni out there tailgating. I walked them around and introduced them to as many alumni as I could and say, this is the future. This is a new guy. This kid here is a ninth grader. He's up and coming. Y'all gonna win it again. That's what they want to know. Y'all gonna win it. Hey, we gonna be there. We support y'all. Coach, make sure I get my T-shirt. I'm gonna be at the game. And just so they can understand that it's bigger than the sport you're playing. You're part of the Kimball family, and you're gonna be an alumni, and you're gonna be there forever. And you'll get to come back one day and see the kids just like they're doing, the class of 85, 89, 94, 2000. They're all here, and so I think that's kind of what I've been trying to do these last few years, build young men, better character, and just good guys, man. I mean, what's wrong with just being a good guy?
Yeah.
Just a good guy. I hadn't had that always. And, you try to help kids as much as you can. And sometimes it just don't work. And that can consume you. You got to pull back from some of them and just kind of let them live their life and pray.
Good call. Yeah. My wife gave me great advice one day. She said, Matt, it's not your job to save him. And I was like, oh, right. Like, I mean, if you're a believer, obviously, like,
yes.
It's not, but we take that responsibility of their decisions they make, where they're putting their trust and who they're putting their trust in. That is a reflection on me. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's bad to have that approach, that responsibility, but that at the end of the day, it's not our job to save them. We've got to believe that there's a bigger person involved, and not just their parents, but a bigger person involved that is going to take that job. Yeah,
I agree with you. But we used to do it anyway. We felt it was our responsibility. I told, just to give you a little bit, this is my 17th year. In 16 years, from being a head coach at Pinkston High School for 7 and 9, 10, going to my 10th year now, 9 at Kimball. So I've had 62 boys get scholarships. Okay. I had 8 seniors signed this past season, 2 in academic. They were in our collegiate program, 2 in academic, and 6 went for basketball. Okay. So 62 in 16 years is a lot.
It's a lot.
And all them kids ain't starters now. That, like, I'm finding stuff for guys that are 8th, 9th senior that get a little film. I might find you a little NAI school in Missouri, but hey, it's free or partial. I'll find you something. Yeah. And 3 McDonald's All-Americans in 9 years, and 3, 4 pros. So that's not easy to do, but that's my passion. And I used to tell people all the time, as bad as I wanted to win a state championship, I'd rather see that kid sign that national letter of intent with his parents, because they get a chance to get a free education and also play the sport that they've been playing and love playing at the next level, no matter what level that may be.
Yeah. You
got a shot. Now, all those kids don't stay. Some are home for a year, for a semester, but I get them there. And I've even helped get some kids get a second chance to get somewhere else. But it's been that many because that wasn't done for me. It wasn't for my dad filming games with the big VHS tapes and sending them out. I don't got, but I just figured that if a kid works hard for 4 years, to me, no, it's not in our contract. No, it doesn't say you got to help this kid get a scholarship.
Yeah.
But to me, as coaches, we should be sending some film out, doing some stuff. And I've heard coaches say, in big time, well known, what I consider great coaches, that it's not in my contract, or it's not my job to get that kid a scholarship. They go play AAU and the coaches will find them, and they come see them when we play, they'll find them. But I'm like, man, but it's not that easy.
Yeah, that it's not my job will kill culture in a second.
And this coach has won a couple state championships, but that's just how he rolled. And then they had great players come through there. But this kid signed this kid. But what about these two who've taken all these charges, who get in, who've done everything you asked them to do for 4 years? I got to pick that phone up, man.
Yeah.
I got to say, coach, send me the highlights, send me some film. Okay, maybe a little JUCO, a small JUCO, a little NAIA school, a small college or something. Now, if the kid don't want to go, you don't want to go. But I made the call. They want you to come up. They like you. So I just feel like if that kid's been doing what he's supposed to do and giving me his all, kept his grades up, I got to at least try for him. Now, don't get me wrong, and you've probably done this too in the past. I've tricked a couple of people into taking kids and hoping it worked out. It didn't work out. They just wasn't that good. I can't call them again and tell them about another kid.
You burnt that bridge. You burnt that bridge. But
can't do that no. And look, hopefully they just see a kid that they like and they call me. But as far as just, hey man, this kid good, you need to take him. Nah. And I've only done that at no Division I, Division II schools, maybe at a JUCO, a little small college, and hoping the kid could transition. And they didn't do it. But hey, got him there.
Coach, the speed round. These are going to be quick questions. First thing that pops in your head, we'll get to know you real well.
Okay, let's go.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, Neapolitan.
Huh. Greatest shooter of all time?
For me, Reggie Miller.
Nice. That's a good one.
one.
Best basketball movie of all time?
I like The Program on the podcast.
Okay.
I like The Program.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a program. That was football.
That's what I thought.
My fault. I ain't coach coming in here.
The Program was a good movie, though. But
that was a good movie. That was football. I'm sorry. I meant to say Blue Chips.
Blue Chips, which is about the same as on the other side. Yeah. Yeah. Blue Chips is great.
And guess what? When Happy Walters, whatever his name, the happy guy was talking to Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
And he said, my money is washed, it's clean. I own you. I love him. I bought the whole team. And that was going on for real.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of those happy dudes out there.
Yo, man, that was going on for real, yeah.
Texting or talking?
Texting, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I know the answer to this one, but for high school, especially in Texas, shot clock or no shot clock?
You know what? I like to have one now, but really I didn't care at one time because we don't play a lot of teams that really need one, but you'll run into one. But I think it helps because we got a chance to do it twice in Atlanta last year when we went.
Yeah.
And it got us like one time. It did get us one time, and it got us twice the next night. But that went to a 30-second shot clock. Went from a 24 to the next night we were playing 30 seconds. And yeah, it makes you get off that ball a little bit faster.
Yeah. Favorite holiday?
Favorite holiday? Man, it's got to be Christmas. Yeah, it's Christmas.
You're up 3 on defense with 7 seconds left. Do you foul or no foul?
I'm up 3. And I'm on defense with 7 seconds left. We have a foul to give.
Yeah.
And I'm up 3.
Well, no, not a foul to give. Are you choosing to put them on the free throw line to where they can't shoot a 3, by fouling them early? Or are you going to let it play out whether they make it or not? We'll tip our hat. They make it, we go to overtime. They miss it, we win.
We're going to play it out.
Yeah.
If I had a foul to give, I'd take the foul. But we're
sure, to knock the time down. But if they're in the bonus, because there's still that idea of, it's pretty split, Coach, right down the middle with, I think, that like half the guys foul.
You got it in Texas, I think it's no more 1-and-1 now.
Yep.
So
yeah.
that's going to be automatic 2 shots, depending on who we're fouling. Kid may foul the wrong person. You know, anything could happen. He goes to the line, hit 2. Depends on when you foul, how much time on the clock.
I think it depends on your rebounding too. Like, I mean, you got an advantage. You probably go, well, they can miss that second one. We'll get it. Or if you're smaller, all right, let's see if they can hit the 3.
We're gonna try to make somebody take that shot.
What book would you give to someone?
One book I like, well, they probably won't understand it, but it's the Lord of the Rings, the trilogy. I got that book at home.
Yeah.
One book I do like is the one Phil Jackson wrote when he was with the Lakers. You know,
is that the 11 Rings, or was that later, or the one about how's it about Shaq and Kobe, like coaching them?
Yeah, coaching them.
Yeah.
That's actually just to see how he dealt with those talents.
If you got stars, that's a great. If you got like those 4 or 5-star guys that have all the voices behind and all the influences, that's a great book to read.
It's a good book to read. Yes.
Yeah. Name one bucket list item you still need to do.
Man, one bucket list item. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've always wanted to go to maybe a place like Montana or somewhere in the Midwest that has, or maybe on the West Coast, Upper Oregon, or Portland, like a mountain area.
Do some fishing.
Yeah, do some fly fishing somewhere with a river going through it and everything.
Oh yeah,
all that kind of stuff. May see a moose somewhere or something, But yeah, man, I had a kid who his dad and I played college ball together, and so he moved his son down here with him, and his son was from Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, and I remember he gave me some socks for Christmas, and they had a moose on it and a polar bear, and I wore those at a game one time, and so he goes home that summer. He sends me a video to my phone. He's going down the street with his mom. Man, this big old moose just comes out of his ditch, man. I mean, it's huge, man, beside his car, just walking. I was like, that would have scared the crap out of me. And,
that's not happening in Dallas, Texas.
No, it ain't happening in Dallas, but I always wanted to do something in nature like that. And just, do some fly fishing. I've never done anything like that before.
Last one, Coach. In basketball, who's the GOAT?
Man.
Yeah, that's tough.
That debate.
Coach, you're going to be on the record here. You're going to be on the record.
Right. Greatest of all time. Of course, I wasn't a fan of the Chicago Bulls. I did not like Michael Jordan. But the one thing about me, I'm not a hater. I will respect your game. Mike was the best player in the NBA. Magic Johnson was the most valuable player in the NBA. You like that one?
Yeah, I mean, you skirted it. No, it's good. I understand it. And it's a great question that doesn't really have an answer, but it's just fun to hear because really you get to know a little bit about like when basketball was big for you, like in your youth and when you're really watching it, and when those 80s players, you in the 90s players, you just tell us a little bit about that, Coach. The kids nowadays, I mean, they've just seen LeBron their whole life, so that's kind of what they go to. But he's not a bad one to emulate. He's been great for the game and on the court, off the court, it's been incredible. But
I love LeBron. I think he's a top 5 player, but I get people argue with me. They say, well, how do you figure he's a top 5 player? I said, dude, Emmitt Smith is the all-time leading rusher, but I never felt Emmitt Smith was one of the greatest running backs ever. But he's still the all-time leading rusher, so you got to put him in the top 5. LeBron is the all-time leading scorer, and I don't think nobody going to catch him if he play another 2 or 3 years.
That's right, yeah.
I didn't think nobody was going to catch Kareem.
I did think that was like an unbreakable record for the longest time. Yeah.
So being that you're the all-time leading scorer and you got some championships and you've done some other stuff, he may not be number 1. He's top 5. I mean, he's all-time leading scorer.
Coach, this was so enjoyable, man. I really appreciate your time. And because again, the level that I'm coach at and the level you coach at, most likely our paths aren't going to cross. If we're ever in a tournament with Kimball, I've got some dudes that have just never been at Faith before. And we're able, but it was really special to get to learn from you, and just humbled by the fact that you give up your time, man.
Thank you, man. I enjoyed it. Your podcast. I mean, I never do any of these podcasts. I think I've done like 5 this year, but this has been a really, really good one because I got to do some talking, because on the other ones they talk way more than
Coach, this isn't about me, man. It's about you. It's about you. But I did want to throw a question out at you right before we get off here. So
Okay.
you mentioned going to 5 out. I was a 4 out, 1 in dribble drive guy at McKinney High School with Wes Watson for 5 years, and then got to be at Faith. We were that, and then Coach, I moved to 5 out. But my question to you is, in your 5 out, if these are the 5 spots, you got your corner spots here, your wing spots, and your top of the key. Is that the way you're looking at 5 out with the ball centered?
That's what I'm thinking, because I've seen it, and I know people do different things out of it, but I'm going to have to teach it. And like I said, my brother sent me the whole blueprint of this video. So I guess that's what I'm thinking when I think of 5 out there, and there.
Let me throw this out at you, because to me, that's the part of 5 out when you were talking about, like, I've never gone to it, I've never been a fan. I've never been a big fan of that either, because when I look at that ball here, what I loved about 4 out, 1 in dribble drive. So let me just kind of take that guy out, right? You've got your 2 alleys, your 2 corners right here. What I like about that is double gap with your guy in the dunker spot. But you center that thing, single gap all over the place, which single gaps are easy to guard, because you can take away space for the drive, but you can recover quickly the shot. So, Coach, here's something to think about is we go 5 out, but we do this. Okay, so alleys, just like in 4 out, 1 in, corners, and this guy is the stretch. The stretch is 3-point line extended on either side. So all of a sudden, let me do this.
You know what you need to do? I will pay you to pay for your gas to come up here.
Coach, I'll put it in.
To my team.
I'll put it in.
For my team.
Because here's the deal. Like, okay, the ball is right here.
Gotcha.
Right off the bat, Coach. I can't do it backwards. Double gap between these two. That's a double gap. If you pass it across this way and he cuts opposite, you've got a triple gap right here to a drive. I can't do it backwards, but right there to a drive. Okay. My whole point is, like, when guys go 5, if they have a 4 out, 1 in background, like we did, to go 5 out, but move it to where the ball is centered and you bring up, you lose the alleys and that double gap that you used to have. You put that guy that was in the dunker spot, you move him up to the stretch. Coach, double gaps, triple gaps all over the place. The space that you wanted to paint. Yep. So, Coach, I would be honored to come out and help you guys, because it is something that I'm passionate about, that 5 out now, where for years I was 4 out, 1 in. But it just made me think about it, because the way you talked about it, where if you love 4 out, 1 in, you don't want to center it and move those dudes, because it takes good spacing away. It allows, I feel like, defense to guard you easier.
Yeah,
but
all about spacing and yelling at every day. Spacing, get good gap. Yeah.
Well, hey, Coach, we'll connect on a different note. But again, man, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, man. Thank you.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the Jamodi Podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.